How do you know if the obstacles that you find in the way are a sign to stop or a sign to keep going? How many times in your life you had an argument with a donkey? Stay with us. This is God Made Me Laugh.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome back to God Made Me Laugh. Well, in this episode, I have a story for you. And in this story, I want to explore the question, how do you know that the obstacles that you find in front of you are a sign to stop or a sign to continue? Well, I have a story. A long time ago. Sorry, let me try that again. A long, long time ago. In a land far, far away. Well, it was in Puerto Rico. We are driving. I'm with Ibelis, my wife. At that time, we were close to getting married. And we're driving in the middle of the island on the mountains. And this is the middle of nowhere. There's no street lights. If you turn off the lights of the car, you see nothing. So we're driving to this event. And I was supposed to be there around 7 to do stand-up comedy. That night there was an event for young people. And so we're driving. And this is before GPS. This is when cell phones were still a new thing. And this signal was terrible. And so we're driving and we're just, joking around, talking about what I'm going to say in the event and things. And Ibelis said, can you imagine if we get a flat over here? Not kidding. 2 seconds later, we get a flat. So at this point, I get out of the car. I'm trying to figure out where the tire is because I cannot see anything outside. I'm trying to use the light of the cell phone that I had, one of those flipping cell phones. And I'm trying to touch where the stuff is, and my hands are getting burned because I cannot see. I had to touch it, and it was very, very hot. So I, try to get the tire out. I get the spare tire. At this point, we are already late for the event. We're trying to reach the people at the event. And, you will get signal here, not signal if you do 2 steps. And it was terrible. So I finally get to change the tire. I put the spare on. Everything is good. We're going. We're going. We have to get there. And 2 minutes later, the spare tire also popped. Incredible. I could not even believe it. So what are the chances if you do a mathematical analysis of this situation, how unlikely it is that you get a flat and the spare tire also pops. Okay, it's terrible. So at this point we are ultra late. We're stuck. We're in the middle of nowhere. Very poor signal. No GPS, nothing. We're stuck there. So finally, people from the event found us. At this time, it is around 9 p.m. The time when the event was supposed to end. And they come in and they say, listen, let's leave the car over here. Let's go to the event. People are still waiting. So let's go. I get there, no chance to wash my hands, nothing. My hands were like black. And I get there, I start doing my stand up, and with the stand up, what I used to do back then was to also preach. So in the middle of the comedy, there will be some preaching, and at the end of the set, I made an altar call, and about 75 kids, adults, teenagers came and accepted Christ as their savior that night. And when you start looking back at the event, of course, God made me laugh because the answer to the question is not always simple. The obstacles that we were getting to get there were actually a sign that it was necessary to be there. And in moments like that, you have to grow. You have to start developing character, patience, virtue, faith. But how do you do this? How do you know that those obstacles were a sign to keep going? Well, there's this thing called discernment. And it's a fancy word that we use sometimes, that what it is defines a power, ability, or skill to see, perceive, and distinguish what is not evident to the natural or average mind. Fancy stuff. Now, a good example for what discernment is. I don't know if you ever watch a video or ever been present to when people find gold in a river and they put the gold with the dirt, everything goes to a pan, and they start shaking the pan until the gold and the dirt separate. That's an example of discernment. Another example, and I learned this in construction. People will put the sand with all the other stuff and the rocks and all the garbage, and they will move it in this screen that will make the sand fall on the ground while all those other stuff stays on the top. That's also discernment. So how do you develop this discernment? Well, this discernment is developed in a relationship with the truth. If you know what the truth is, then you can separate what is not the truth. Now, it's not that simple. It sounds very simple when you try to explain it, but it's not that simple, because what about those moments that you think that the obstacles are designed to make you grow, to make you more perseverant, to develop your character, to develop virtue, but they're actually telling you to stop, to turn around, to go a different way. Now, there's a story in the Bible that is about a prophet. This prophet was hired by this king who wanted to curse the people of Israel as they were passing through some mountains in the desert. And he tells the people inviting him to do this, let me talk to God. Let me see what he says. So he goes to pray, and God said, no, you're not going. So he went back and told the people, listen, God said, I'm not going. So you figure out, I am not doing that. But he stays talking to them. The people stayed and tried to like push the envelope a little bit. And he said, well, let me talk to God again. Let me see if I heard correctly. And he went to pray and came back. And when he went to pray, God said, no, no, I already said no. What are you doing? So he comes back to the people and said, listen, no, I can go. I cannot go because God said no. So he stays with these people. They're still not leaving, and they convince him to talk to God again. So he goes back, goes to pray, and God said, listen, dude, you want to go? Do whatever you want. So he goes there and says, listen, we're going. So as they go, this prophet's name is Balaam, and he has a donkey. So he gets on his donkey and he starts trying to go, the path that they were supposed to go. And this donkey is moving to the sides and hitting him against the rocks. Now he's all scratched up. He's hitting the donkey, and all of a sudden, something amazing happened. The donkey started talking. So let me tell you this. The whole thing with Shrek and a talking donkey is not new. It was in the Bible already. So the donkey starts talking to him. And he starts arguing with the donkey. The donkey said, no, listen, there's an angel right in front of us. You can see him, but I can't. And he has a sword. And if we keep going, we're both dead. I'm trying to save your life. And he's like, what are you doing this to me? Let's keep going and all that kind of stuff. Eventually, he made it to the mountain. And remember, this guy is getting paid to curse the people of Israel. And he gets there and he blesses them. So the people hiring him, they're like, what are you doing? We hire you to curse them, not to bless them. And he tried again, and all that came out was blessings. Now, the moral of the story over here is that sometimes, and I'm gonna say this in a way that is not hurtful. I'm going to try to sugarcoat things a little bit. I'm going to try to be gentle. Sometimes all you need is common sense. There's signs that are telling you, no, stop, quit it, turn around, don't go. And sometimes we just keep pushing the envelope and pushing the envelope. And when we see the consequences of our decision, we generally always find somebody else to blame for what we decided to do that was already a no. But discernment is important. And as I said, discernment develops in relationship and knowledge of the truth. And the truth will set you free. So when you're planning to do something, or you're trying to do something, and you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. We're not talking about the mystery of having a donkey talking to you, because God can use anybody. Maybe at this point, I am the donkey telling you, you need to quit it. You need to stop. You need to turn around. Maybe I'm that donkey. Okay? And if a donkey has to tell you what to do, we'll see who the donkey is. Anyway, there's maybe that habit. There's maybe that relationship. There's maybe that place where you know you need to step out. You need to walk away. You need to be free. Take a moment. Pray. Check your motives. Think. Ask for discernment. Either for stopping and quitting, or even if it is keep going you will see how everything makes sense at the end. And this discernment, this way of listening to God's voice, is something that needs to be practiced. I remember when my kids were playing basketball, I will coach from the bench. I will scream the whole game. I enjoy watching the games. It was like I will have no voice by the end of it. And I will ask my kids after it, do you hear me screaming? And their answer was always the same. No, we're focusing on the voice of the coach. And they can be a lot of people screaming. They can be all the noise and all the cheering, but they are listening to the voice of the coach. How they know the voice of the coach? Because they have been in practice with the coach. They can hear what the coach is trying to tell them in the middle of the noise. Sometimes, because they know the coach, they can hear the voice of the coach even when the coach is not speaking. But that's because of that relationship. So take your time. Develop that relationship. Let God Himself show you the path. Show you if the signs are to keep going or to stop. Sometimes it's just about waiting. And you will see how at the end, God will make you laugh too.
Hey, donkey! Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to follow. Well, that's a terrible, terrible impression. Yeah, just do what it says over there. Don't worry about it.
This episode of God Made Me Laugh was sponsored by Gina Healing and Wellness Center, Beyond Direct Primary Care.